And next on stage is Ian Hurd, who is head of fintech at Three UK. And he's here to tell us why Three is potentially getting into the fintech game. Please welcome Ian to the stage.
Cheers, Bragi. Thank you. Wow. Hey, guys. Feeling somewhat nervous today with the quality of the presentations and obviously the collective fintech wisdom here. Given our post-lunch inspiration, I'm hopefully banking on my English accent to carry me through. So I could definitely do with a martini right now. Right then. So what I'm going to do today, my name's Ian. I lead fintech at Three UK. I'm going to take you through who we are, why we're here today, why we're interested in fintech, and then our partnership with Meniga, and then some of our current learnings or our current feedback and some of our plans for the future. So, Three UK is a UK mobile operator. It was founded in 2003, and it has a clear recognition as being the challenger brand in the UK, with a strong track record in innovation and challenging the status quo within the telecom industry. But I think more importantly, the thing that probably really stands out is that Three was built for the mobile internet. So whilst we're the smallest network provider in the UK, we carry over 40% of all mobile data in the UK. So the smallest, but we carry 40% of all data, which actually makes our user base quite unique and heavily skewed towards millennials. So we're really interested in kind of our customers and what they do and some of their unmet needs. But like you guys here today as well, some of the banks, we're in an area of digital disruption. Just providing an SMS or providing a phone call is no longer enough. And we need to find new ways to engage and delight our customers. And so we've been embarking on that journey for about, well, for a long time, but this particular digital journey for about the last 12 months. So the question we sort of set ourselves, how can we stand out from the crowd? What can we do differently? And as an industry, we haven't always been the best at this, and we've missed like a few tricks along the way. In 2010, I was working for Vodafone, and I was inventing the next version of SMS. Really cool stuff. I've been doing this for 2 years, and I was super pumped about it. And this small little company came into our offices, and they said, what you're doing is all wrong. Forget about it. Invest in us. Believe in us. And these guys just wanted to give away messaging for free, and we just didn't think it would ever work because we were so focused on maintaining our existing commercial model. We always thought messages should be priced per message. That company was WhatsApp, and you know the rest. So I felt really stupid that day, and I wish I'd taken a personal stake in it. A couple of years later, I was working for PayPal, and I spent a lot of time engaging mobile operators in trying to sort of integrate PayPal products, engage with them on building joint products together. And every conversation we had was always about NFC. And the thing they were most focused on in NFC and mobile wallets was who controlled the secure element. And this conversation went on and on and on, and eventually Apple Pay comes in, uses the same infrastructure, but builds a really delightful customer experience. So I think somebody mentioned earlier on about people being worried about having their lunch eaten. I think from a mobile view, we've experienced that in the past. People have come and eaten our lunch. And so we're very cognizant of how difficult these things can be. But Three's very different. We are the smallest operator in the UK, so we have to really think differently. And it's in our DNA to be disruptive, to be innovative, to challenge the status quo. And at the heart of that is we try to really listen to our users and really dig into opportunities and unmet needs that might be there. And over the last 12 months, we've been doing that. And the one thing that stood out amongst a number of different things, but one thing stood out was financial services. And we think for a telco like ourselves, there is potentially some opportunity to partner with the industry and actually help some of our customers. So why are telcos in a position to potentially address our consumers' financial needs? Well, most users have about one mobile operator as a partner, but they maybe have 3 financial institutions. We often have more license to be creative in our marketing and more disruptive and more cheeky maybe. We have a large customer base with 10 million users, and And we're also pivoting, as I said earlier on, towards digital and big data. And we're also used to working in highly regulated markets and to a large extent with technology. However, we also recognize there are some barriers there. So there is inertia into moving to new technologies, especially open banking. There are some things around open banking which I think, from a consumer point of view, could be made easier. Obviously, for the last 15, 20 years, we've been telling people never share your banking credentials. So there's also inertia to overcome. And probably the most important thing we want to understand is, would customers actually trust Three as a financial services provider? Or at least in the fintech space. So these are some of the things we've wanted to look into. And then we've also, as I mentioned earlier, millennials are really, really important to us. So this is our customer base. This is who we sort of live and breathe every day. And as we dug into their financial wants, their concerns, it really stood out that millennials wanted more from their money. They're the largest and most valuable demographic. The post-recession economy had a big impact on them. They have high aspirations. They want to save, but they want to save to achieve things with that money. And it's how can we help them achieve those things. And the thing that I love the most, I think, was my colleague found this great sort of euphemism, outsourced personal motivation. Millennials are really, really happy with trying new technology and trying new ways to change their habits, change their behavior, learn new things, kind of the Fitbitization of their lives. And we thought there was a great opportunity. And then, more anecdotally, some of the focus groups, some of the crazy stuff that people do came out, and I think Finna touched on this earlier on, is the anxiety people feel when they open their online banking app, not wanting to know what the actual balance is. Some people we talk to don't open their online banking app a week to 2 weeks before payday because they just don't want to know. They open it at payday so they get the hit of excitement that they're being paid and there's a big number there, and it's really exciting. The almost lottery behavior of going to a point of sale machine and seeing if the transaction goes through, and if it goes through, like, yeah, I've won. If it doesn't go through, kind of you're lost. Or the same with the cash point machine. So there was really kind of strange, not strange, but there were really interesting behaviors that people were doing and real concerns. And we felt there's probably opportunity to address those. One thing that I would pick out that also came back in our focus groups was time and time again, the notifications on Monzo, real-time notifications on Monzo came out. That idea of rather than having to go look, always being in control and always being kept up to date of where your spending is, was a key feature that was very simple but very, very powerful. So, and I guess I don't need to kind of tell this to you guys because you're probably more familiar with this than I am. So the UK is kind of almost a global, these European fintech capital at the moment because of these four major points. There's a lot of capital there. Financial services has a long history. There is talent both in the financial services industry and also in the technology and computer science, software engineering industries. Adoption of fintech services in the UK is third in the world behind China and India. And the last point I'll touch on is the policy regime, that the regulator is really supportive, the government is really supportive of trying to push these services like open banking to our consumers. And I think from our point of view, we feel that there is almost a step change in sort of opportunity. And I sometimes compare this to sort of deregulation of energy in the UK, that once upon a time you bought your energy from the person who made it, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. But there's the potential that the person who builds a financial product is not necessarily the same place as where you consume the financial product. And I think that opens some opportunities for us. But more importantly, I think it's what we can do for our customers and how we can almost democratize financial management, if that's a phrase. And I'll go back to I started my career 18 years ago being an international product manager for Quicken, so call it Personal Financial Management 1.0. And I organized this focus group, and it was no real segmentation by their existing Quicken users. It was a great focus group. But the interesting thing is what happened afterwards. These guys all trotted out, we'll later them. They stood outside the offices, and they spent 40 minutes chatting about their finances, about the hacks and the tricks they had with Quicken. And it was super interesting. But what was really interesting, which I haven't told you, is this was in northern Canada. It was minus 30 degrees outside. I mean, the people addicted to nicotine who were smoking would only do 15 minutes outside. And these guys were out there for like 40 minutes talking about a piece of software. And this is 18 years ago. But the key thing is these guys represented about 1% of the population. The barrier to using Quicken was way too high in terms of data entry, maintenance, pulling reports, getting the insights, then going to take action. It just wasn't ready for mainstream consumers. And when I look at the industry today, I feel that there is a real opportunity. We're not quite there yet, but with some of the things that are happening in the UK, that we are almost to the point where we can actually bring that level of financial management where we can get the data, we can generate the insights, we can make recommendations, and we can help you take action. No, we're almost there. So, our mission as Three UK is to motivate and enable customers to adopt and stick to healthier money habits so they feel positive about the future. That's it in a nutshell. That's really, really what we're trying to focus on. And we are taking our first kind of baby steps in that world. And I think we are heavily reliant on open banking, and it's not going to happen all overnight. So we're running a marathon rather than a sprint. But this is kind of, I think, on ground zero where we, as a company, really want to focus. So we started looking around for potential partners who would be really, really sort of adopt the same sort of behaviors, the same sort of customer obsession that we have as a company. And when we looked around, most of the products we saw all kind of looked the same. If I look at kind of the Yolts and the money dashboards, you open them up or you go to the App Store, they have like a very similar screenshot, pie chart, bar chart, all very similar. But when we looked at Meniga, it was really, really different. And it really stood out. And when we started having a conversation with Meniga and started thinking about, started discussing why they had their FIN42 app, why they have the feed, why they do what they do, it became really apparent that they were thinking not just on the surface, but really trying to get beneath the customer and understand their emotional needs, their desires, understand how they could actually help create better and healthier financial habits. And on our side, obviously we have a very strong marketing machine, we have 10 million customers, and we have experience in launching digital services. So within Three, we have a new digital innovation hub called Wuntu, and we're rolling out numbers of different products in different areas, and we have quite a lot of experience now over the last 18 months of sort of driving and creating those customer bases. So it seemed like a match made in heaven. So over the last 6 months or so, we've been busy creating this. So this is Wuntu Money. You're always in a flap about your finances, then you need me in your life, I'm here to help you. I don't cost a penny, now that's good budgeting. So essentially, what we've done is we've taken the very basic FIN42 app that Finn showed you earlier on and demonstrated, and we've focused on customizing that for the UK, making it work with open banking, and obviously applying our brand to that. And you can see it has all the features that we all know and love about that app. And we consider this kind of our, what would you call it? This is our foundation. This is kind of the thing that we want to add other services onto in the future, but this is where we think that we're going to start with around these healthy habits. Yep. And so we concept tested this as well. I'll go on to our future plans in a second, but so we concepted this. And with basic online testing, this probably tested, of all the products we tested this year, was probably the top one. And of our millennial audience, 51% rated it from a 9 and 10. They wanted this in their lives. The only kind of negative feedback was around design language, had to be more fun. They gave us the feedback that finances are boring enough anyway. We want you to make it really bright. We want you to make it really fun. We want to use our language. We want to use mobile language. We don't want you to be stuffy or standoffish. And I think that fits really well with who we are as a company and who we are as Three. So we're more than, I think, well prepared to go down that path and potentially take more risks than a traditional financial provider would do. And so then finally, we're going to sort of test this over the next year or so. As I said, it's a marathon rather than a sprint. So we want to really understand with the product, can we drive user engagement? Can we get retention? Can we find a scalable monetization model that will sustain and allow us to wash our own face with the service? And following that, and once we identify that, then we'll look at the right time in investing in growth as the market matures. But if you would like to join our journey and you would like to, and you're in the UK and you would like to use the app, please sign up for early access, and we'd love to have you using our product.
Thank you very much, Ian. It goes without saying, we at Meniga are extremely excited about this collaboration on this project. Maybe time for at least one question?
Sure. I think the interesting one is probably around about the partnering with banks to offer financial products. We don't see ourselves as being a provider of financial services or building financial products anytime. We really want to partner with the industry and create a platform where we can engage our customers and really help them lead healthier financial lives. And I think as part of that, we'll be partnering with banks and other companies to bring a really personalized financial experience, to bring the right products for the right users together. I think that's some way off at the moment. We only do the basic stuff, but in the future, that's definitely what we want to do. Maybe one more, I think. I don't think it's so much as diversifying. I think it's about making sure we have closer engagement with the customers we already have. When we concept tested the app you saw up on the screen, it doesn't deliver like a really strong kind of experience for bringing in new customers, but in terms of keeping the customers we have and deeply engaging them and making them feel more valued by Three as a brand, and us knowing those customers better and offering the right services, I think it delivers on that in spades.
Good. Thank you very much, Ian.
Bye.